Shalom, everybody, and welcome to ReligionWinked TV, where my spiritual ears stay. Hey, y'all, welcome to Scented Sundays, all right? Today is the first installment of what I like to call Scented Sundays. It's where we're going to be going back in time, times of old, and look at some stories where they're quite sinful, and especially against God's people, his children, right? And in this case, we're going to be talking about a couple of situations that happened against some children coming from, I believe, Tucson, Arizona, over there somewhere. Guys, you know my spiritual ears stay. I did that already. Where's my bell? All right. And let's see. Disclaimer. I don't know anybody involved. I don't know all of the story. I'm only going to present what I have. Yeah, and let's just make sure we go ahead and give God all the glory, because if it wasn't for his discernment for certain people here on these YouTube streets, we probably would not even know that this situation happened, okay? And with that being said, let me go ahead and get my other disclaimer. All right, and it's the FBI warning for the federal law. It allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. All right, you guys can go ahead and read the rest of that for yourself. Let me go ahead and take this off right here and get back over here. So yeah, welcome to the first edition of Scented Sundays, and I hope you guys not enjoy this kind of content, but like enjoy this kind of content so that we can bring more light and reveal more darkness that's going on in the world, especially with people from social media and around the world. Hell, my family, your family, and anybody else's family. So here we go. Yesterday I had mentioned that, or 2 days ago I had mentioned we were going to start doing Scented Sundays. That's just pulling up old stories, biblical, modern day, over past times over the years, where people just do the most demonic stuff against human beings, period. And I was going to get up and talk about the 7 deadly sins according to the Romans, and basically how they will tell you that these 7 things are a sin, but yet it seems that they do it the most, starting with the Vatican on down to any descendants, relatives, cousins, brothers, and anybody else thereof. White House, Buckingham Palace, and some other places of wickedness seated very high. Shout out to the one person in the chat. So basically, I'm just going to go over what the 7 deadly sins are. And you guys know I like to compare it to black and white supremacy, oppression of black slavery. And that's perfectly fine for me to do that, because what I noticed that the Bible does, the Bible likes to condemn an individual for their sins, but it doesn't want to hold accountable white supremacy or other races or people in general that bring sin against other nations or other people or other tribes. How is that? I've always had that question, but no one seems to be able to answer it. So, basically, let me just go over what the 7 deadly sins are so you guys are aware of it. And I also was going to talk about idolatry because I know that there's a lot of idolatry going on. And as I was telling you overnight, there was a story developing, and I'm like, wow, that's very sinful. That's like, shoot, we need to talk about that and expose that as well, right? So, the 7 deadly sins, according to the Roman Catholic Church again, where we get most of this information from, funny, right? And ironically, but it basically tells us what the 7 deadly sins are, and why the Roman Catholic Church would make you feel like if you commit greed or lust or envy or slothfulness or I can't think of the other way, pride and gluttony and wrath against yourself or another human being, you're going to hell. But yet the people who give you the definitions and the law behind these things break more laws and commit more sin and have more greed and pride and lust and envy and gluttony, wrath and sloth against God's people than anybody, right? So, according to the Roman Catholic theology, it's just funny how one theology just seems to outweigh the rest of the world, and everybody has to bow down to what these people say, knowing their sinful history, knowing their sinful nature, according to Romans chapter 1 in the Bible, right? So it goes on to say, according to the Roman Catholic theology, the 7 deadly sins are the 7 behaviors or feelings that inspire further sin. Now, they'll also tell you, according to this Bible, that sin started in the garden with Adam and Eve, and based off of that, everybody else is a sinner. Even babies born into this world are sinners. But yet they don't want to tell you they forefather Lucifer committed the greatest sin ever up in heaven, according to this same said Bible. How come they don't want to preach and teach that story? Because it would lead back to their ancestors. See, the greatest fall ever was Lucifer from heaven. Adam and Eve came after that, according to this said Bible, although you don't read about it until the end of the Bible in the book of Revelations. It happened before Adam and Eve sinned. Lucifer sinned, Satan sinned, the dragon, the beast, the great red devil, whatever you want to call it, the entity thereof. And ever since that fall, mankind has been falling to what we know as sin today, unto this day, okay? And so somehow it's really strange and weird and funny to an extent how they can take what they initiated against God originally, Lucifer trying to be God, sit on the mount of the congregation, sit on the seats of God, sit here, the east, the west, wherever he wanted to sit. He wanted to be God. And that pride, that greed, that lust, that envy, that gluttony, that wrath, and that slothfulness got the best of him. He should have just kept on playing that music up in heaven and leave well enough alone, and maybe the world wouldn't be the way it is today. You cannot keep blaming sin on Adam and Eve. It started with the Lucifer, the old son of the morning Jay-Z be singing about over there in Hollywood. You can't keep blaming. Yeah, did Adam and Eve sin? But it wasn't the original sin, so let's keep it real. And somehow these Romans will put it in a book, Adam and Eve, the original sinners, but yet they're the biggest sinners unto this day, based off of these deadly sins, committing the most crimes against children, based off of these deadly sins. It's very prideful to say that you need to have sex with a young child in order to renew your youth. Whatever happened to vitamins, whatever happened to taking care of yourself, whatever happened to drinking 8 glasses of water, whatever happened to not being greedy to have a child in your life as an adult, whatever happened to not lusting after young children, whatever happened to, hell, some of you parents and adults are envious of these same-sex children. Whatever happened to not being a gluttony when it comes to the children? Whatever happened to the wrath? Remember, the Bible says, provoke not your children to anger. But the wrath of some of you adults is why your children are out here doing some of the sinful things that they're out here doing toward other children. And the slothfulness against the children. Not keeping up with their needs and necessities of life. Not being a A1 caretaker, provider, parental role in their life. Where they got to go out and seek out someone like this man named Tyrone Henry, who we're going to get into in a moment. This story developed overnight on YouTube, and seek out men like him for whatever reasons. In this case, they wanted to just be a model for this cream he was allegedly developing. In other cases, they're looking for a father figure who wasn't at home. They're looking for a love they didn't get from the father who was at home. Acceptance. We got to do better with our children. We really do got to do better. So these 7 deadly sins, I like to look at the white supremacy and the oppressors of the world, those that are in control, people. Let's not act like Europe and white people, descendants thereof. Whether you're from the continent of Asia, meaning Russia, Europe, all of it doesn't matter. They run the world. This Bible talks about wickedness seated in high places. The book of Romans talk about the Roman people being the wickedest of them all, according to Paul. In his letter to the book of Romans, I meant to say. So why can't we look out in the world and see pride and greed and lust and envy and gluttony and wrath and slothfulness when it comes to them? Oh, they walk around with a pompous attitude, just like the Bible says in the book of Isaiah 14. They're pompous. It talks about the pompous attitude of Lucifer over there. Prideful. Talks about the pride of Lucifer over there. Greed will have another race. I don't care what color you are at this point. Kill off the masses to be in control. That's greed. Lust. They desire your melanin. They desire something about the race they want to oppress and keep under their control. They lust after whatever kind of relationship you did have with God in the Old Testament. These people are envious. Because God said, I choose you over all the other races in the world. What if it was only black and white at that time and God chose to go with black people? You don't think white people became envious? And that's why they attacked the church. They sent Paul to attack the temple, and it's been on and popping ever since. Well, if God chose you, we gonna outdo you and God. We gonna mock God and deceive his people. Envious of the relationship our ancestors had with the God of the Bible. Gluttony. Oh my God, we can stay here forever. The most gluttonous people I ever seen. For money, for the labor of other people because of their slothfulness. The most laziest people for the most part I've seen in this world. That's why they can change. They control you and put you in captivity to be their sheep and cattle along with being their slave. The gluttony of it all. Just to be in control. Because I told you, if God had put us all on the playing field at one time and we was knocking them down like bowling pins all in that Old Testament, how do we get to where we are here in America? Their wrath became so intense, they had to create a man named Jesus and force him upon the world in order for us to still really be alive today. Because if most of our ancestors didn't agree to be a Christian, would we all be dead right now? Would we all be dead right now? And again, because of their slothfulness, they weren't easy to train. They didn't learn easy. They didn't know how to fire. They didn't know how to cook. They didn't know nothing about tilling the land like Adam. They were the hardest people to teach. And then when they flipped the script on God's people and put them into captivity and stripped them of what they taught them, they come back teaching us something we would never learn, such as English. Oh my God, one of the hardest languages in the world to learn. But anyway, that's what they want to do to God's people. Put the hardship on you, like I told you yesterday in that video. Why do we have to suffer, according to Paul, before God settles us, establishes us, strengthens us, and make us perfect? We have to suffer. Have we not been suffering for 500 years? Have not the children of God been suffering for over 2,000 years now? And are not the children of this world suffering to men like Tyrone Henry? And this other guy right here we're about to talk about before we get into Tyrone Henry, because Tyrone Henry is indeed the story of tonight. Hell, the story of YouTube, the story of the century. Nah, it ain't that bad, but it's bad, y'all. Okay, so ex-Tucson group home worker gets 8 years. And Tyrone Henry in the next story gets 7 years, I believe, in prison for child pornography. Now, these people are sick. Let me see. Let me see if I can share my screen and show you this guy right here. He looks weird. Let's go ahead and share. Now, I may not share the other one because, like I said, people want to be influencers. They want to be out here in the street. But the minute you do commentary on them or whatever, it's a problem. So hopefully you guys can see this right here. It's from the Tucson.com. Basically, Tucson group home workers gets 8 years in prison for child porn. This guy right here, his name is, as soon as my screen will go up. All right, here we go. Taylor Ray Freeman. This is Taylor Ray Freeman, y'all. Meet Taylor Ray Freeman. He is a predator out here. Remember, these stories are old time news, okay? But it doesn't matter when you report on something, just be authentic with it, be original with it, be genuine with it, and be truthful with it, and give your best commentary about it. And even though the story is old, you can make it new, you can make it your own. You know what I'm saying? Whether other people reported on it already or not. So Taylor Ray Freeman right here, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna put the link. Let me grab it now so you guys can go ahead and get this story for yourself and read it. Bear with me. All right, so let me go over and put this in the chat box. So this is going to be over on StreamYard. You guys can go ahead and get this link if you want. Boom. And this is, I'm going to put the first story. Taylor Ray. Did I say Henderson? Freeman. All right, so you guys should have that. All right, a former employee at the Tucson Foster Group Home will be spending the next 8 years in prison and be subjected to state supervision for the rest of his life, a federal judge ruled Monday. Now, this story does take place back in January 29, 2018. It was updated May 22nd, 2018. So it's about 3 years old. All right. And Taylor Ray Freeman, 28, was arrested late last February after he told an undercover police officer in Australia that he was sexually interested in children and had explicit photos available for trade. Now, this is really sick, y'all. I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to read one more paragraph, maybe two, and then I'll let you read the rest of the story for yourself. But this guy is serving 8 years in prison for being down in Australia trading off sex pictures. Little did he know, he told it to an undercover police officer, or he told it to someone and they told it to the police, but he was caught and busted. Freeman sent an image to the officer, and Homeland Security agents traced it back to his Tucson home, arresting him on federal charges of distribution and possession of child pornography. Now, let me just say this. I think this world is so crazy, and I think America really don't care about its children, because it will scan you, it will ID you, it will do everything in this world to you for all other reasons. But when it comes to children, it's like people can work in neonatal without being, thoroughly background checked, or people can work in group homes and, New York State Division of, what is it called? New York State DFY. It's like, why don't we have a system in place like a lie detector system where you can ask these people, do you have a desire to mess with children? And that will probably eliminate a lot of the people getting hired to work with children who want to do bad things to the children. Like, it's got to be something to kind of vet out these predators. How come America is so hell-bent on putting somebody in drugs or jail, but it's not hell-bent on putting people in prison for messing with these children? And most of it is coming from the White House nowadays and friends thereof. Everybody else can go to prison for little to nothing, but these people, man, listen. Well, this guy, Taylor Ray Freeman, he did 8 years in prison, but there's a lot of people, white and black, that have abused children and gotten away with it. And I tell you, the worst criminal ever is those that never got punished or caught. Because the ones that generally and usually get caught tend to kind of change their life around. Not everybody, but most people. So it's crazy how the laws, the governing of the children need to be stepped up in this country, if nothing else in the world. Freeman sent an image, okay, I read that, to the Homeland Security agents, and they traced it back to his Tucson home. And it's funny because, it's not funny, but it's ironically weird that the other story is out of Tucson as well when we get into it. So it goes on to say, they brought federal charges of distribution and possession of child pornography. Now, if people have child porn or pornography on their computer, work computer, home, phone, or whatever, that tends to lead me to believe that they may have had sex with a child. Yep. That tends to, and let's talk about that right now. I always be thinking like a child can't drink until it's 18, can't drive until it's 18, can't do this until it's 18. How come there's not a law? You better not have sex with it. I know there's laws in place, but they're not enforcing them. And maybe if a child, just like and I know people have sex before they drive before 18, they drink before 18. Like laws, some people just don't obey laws. But the law should be looked at again. Even for 13 and 14-year-old children who are hooking up with each other, having sex and having babies, there's got to be something in place to kind of nip it in the bud, if you know what I mean. It's not right, y'all. It's like they leave the children exposed for this kind of behavior. And then if you catch the politicians or the government or the wickedness seated in high places messing with the children, they know how to get out of it. And it's not right. Everybody, first of all, is sick. But they be trying to get out of it, and they need to be held more accountable for it. It should just be no excuse whatsoever. So in June, he accepted a plea agreement with the USC. And this is another thing. Excuse me. How I know they don't care about the children. There should be no plea. When them children be pleading for their lives, is there any mercy there? And I know this is just pornography, but hell, there should be no plea with this at all. And I don't mean to say it's just pornography. There's children's being passed around out there for other adults to look at. And that is wrong. Should be no plea for that, y'all. That's how I know America don't really respect her children or care for them. And I told you there's agendas out against your children. One of my videos was taken down for saying so. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this. Freeman was facing prison time ranging from 60 to 136 months. Nah, he should never be able to get out to do anything else again. So I'm going to go ahead and run this down for you. If you guys want to go back and read it yourself, you can. This is Taylor Ray Freeman. He was 28 in 2018. And this demonic man is out here passing around pictures of young children. And happened to be down in Australia. Gave one to an officer. Homeland Security got involved, and they brought charges on him out in Tucson, Arizona, I do believe, for distribution and possession. Let me see what it was again. Distribution and possession of child pornography. So y'all go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing there. go ahead over and check that out. And then we'll get right on into the next story. Let me go ahead and delete that. All right, so now, again, like I told you yesterday, I was just basically looking for some sinful stuff biblically to talk about. And last night, I was watching a young lady on YouTube named Conspiracy Theory, Miss Pizarro. There was a woman named Money Grish who came on and started to give some tea. And as the story developed overnight, and like I said, please go subscribe to anybody you hear me say. Miss Pizarro is Conspiracy Theory. I believe Money Grish, her channel is, Informative Sugar, I believe. And then there's a young lady named Rita Running Shit, or Rita the Baddest Roaster, a well-known content creator on YouTube. So what I know that developed overnight, Miss Money Grish got on Pizarro's page and leaked some information about a woman and her son. The woman had been beefing with a young lady named Rita Running Shit, or Rita the Baddest Roaster. On YouTube and on other platforms and around the world, what people generally do is if you come for them or got beef with them, it's called dox you and find information out about you and bring it to the street so that it can like humiliate you, embarrass you, get you to shut up and back up. And also, for some people, it proves that you're not all who you cut up to be, or you're not all who you say you are. You got, skeletons in your closet just like the rest of us, but you on these YouTube streets trying to act big and bad, so we going to bring you down to your knees today, begging for mercy kind of thing. And that's what kind of happened. This woman named Ray Allen, she was, caping for a man named Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley. And I'm not here to talk about what they're beefing about. I'm just giving you the names of who I have followed and went and clicked on their videos and who are involved for the most part with this story we're about to get into. So she's beefing with Rita and she gets doxxed, this lady named Ray Allen. And it comes out that her son, let me see, his name is Tyrone Henry, and this is all public information. I'm not going to be dropping any phone numbers or addresses or anything like that, but there is a detailed story that I would like to go over with you. And as I read through it earlier, like I said, I don't stay focused on the beef and who's beefing with who. The man was messing with some children and did some crazy things to some children. And this is Sintage Sunday. We talk about the sinful, demonic nature of human beings on Sunday, starting today. Well, we've been doing it on this channel since we got started, but we're going to gear our programs more toward, just fine-tuning content that we can talk about on Sundays and exposing and revealing the demonic behaviors in people. So we're not stuck on the beef. We're not stuck on the names I called. We're about to shift this conversation to just Tyrone in this crazy article and people, the law behind the judgments and the sentences. It was crazy when I read it. So we're going to get into a little bit, but let me go ahead. And for those that don't know, we are definitely, let's see, guys. Hold on one second. I want to say welcome to Sintage Sunday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Welcome back, y'all. So let me go ahead and pull up um this next article so I can go ahead and put it in here for you. This is the second story. All right. So you guys can go ahead and check it out. It's kind of long, but I want to go through it line by line, precept by precept. Not like it's the Bible, but kind of like the Bible tells us to do. That way you get more understanding and clarity of what it is you're talking about and stuff like that. So, boom. Don't do the do. And y'all, when I first heard this story and what the name of it was really called, I said, where is Brother J. Wilson at when you need a pastor? So yeah, I was talking that whole entire time and was kicked out. So anyway, guys, let me go ahead and try to share some of my screen with you so you guys can go over and read most of this for yourself. And I just want to say, here we go again, getting kicked out. Alright, so this is it, guys. Don't do the do. And the do was basically white dew, cream. Again, you got to read this report for yourself. I don't want to keep you guys too long. But Tucson porn promoter Tyrone Henry wants you to know that blowing your load on the faces of blindfolded teen underage girls who think they're participating in a facial cream marketing study is not fraud or any other crime, no matter what the Arizona Court of Appeals said last month. Now listen, he also wants you to know he was framed. How are you framed when your sperm ends up on the face of some young girls? How are you framed? Like the rationale the rationale of these people, they always justifying, always trying to get out of something they get caught doing wrong, right? That's a demon for you. Whether he did it or not, he's serving a 7-year sentence because of the creative legal work at a Pima County prosecutor, Brad Roach. Now, whether he did it or not, nobody was there. Hopefully the girls told the truth. Hopefully he admitted to it, but we know if he did it, he's not going to admit it. He probably thought he was never going to get caught. But what happened was the girls left and realized that warm, sticky substance that was on their face may have not been white dew cream after all. It may have been something else, because they said they heard him moaning and groaning while they had the blindfolds on. Why didn't you take the blindfolds off, young ladies? Listen, in the summer of 2000, Roach was assigned to prosecute Tyrone Henry after 2 teenage girls said he lured them to his home to try out a product called White Dew facial cream he was developing. Instead of exfoliation, they said they got ejaculation. Now, at 15 and 16, the girls know what ejaculation is. I'm going to tell you a story. My daughter, she wasn't absent from school one day, but she had an appointment. And while she was at her appointment, this was in 5th grade. The teacher had gave out something, a consent form, he said, or whatever, on that particular day. For, I think it was the next day or the following day, for them to do female and male reproductive organs in school, right? I never got the consent form. So when she returned to that class the following day, she came home and said, Mom, the teacher showed us this and that and that and that. I said, whoa, where's the consent form? And I had to go up to the school and I defended my daughter, me, myself. Don't. You could have called me. You called me for any dang on thing else. You could have called me for that. You know what I'm saying? So, teachers, adults, everybody's not going to raise your kids the same way. School is trying to teach them what they want to teach them, with or without your consent. So it's like they're trying to push sex off on these children early on. Even in 5th grade, they're talking about the female male and female reproductive system organs. And again, at 15 and 16, these girls know what ejaculation is. They know what sperm is. They know what cum is. All right? So, the girls, 15 and 16 years old at the time, said Henry showed them examples of women with clumpy white cream on their faces and then blindfolded them. See, that's the visualization. Look at here. See that white cream on that face? It looks crazy, right? Let me go ahead and blindfold you and I'm going to put some on you, and it's not going to be like that. Don't ever let no man blindfold you. For no market study, for no face cream. How is he blindfolding you? And the face cream ain't even going to get all over your face. Not the make-believe face cream. Any face cream for this matter. If you're blindfolded, you're not getting the full effect. Don't let no man blindfold you. I can't even get out what I want to say right now, y'all. Don't ever let no man blindfold you. You don't know what these men out here doing, like this man right here. So it goes on to say the girl said that they heard him breathing heavy, and Henry said, "It's coming." Why does the cream have to be coming if you already developed it and made it, and it's supposed to be in a jar somewhere ready for you to open it? So he goes on to say, and then they said they felt a thick, warm substance applied to their faces. They said they took photos, paid them $10 a piece, and convinced them to whoa. So you mean to tell me the photos he showed the other girls might have been pictures with them with his ejaculation on their face? Because he just ejaculated on their face and took pictures. So you think the pictures he took of them, he's going to show the other girls? This is sick, yo. And he paid them $10 a piece. Again, $10 to a 15-year-old 2-3 years ago. It's really how these men is luring these young girls in. Money. At 15 and 16, most young girls have a summer job or something, or they're working at McDonald's or a fast food place. But then you have other girls out here trying to make it into the industry. And along the way, they're meeting predators like Tyrone Henry, who somehow find gratification by taking his ejaculation, putting it on young girls' faces and taking pictures and offering them $10. And then it says, and convince them to make follow-up appointments. Wow. Thinking about it later, they realized they've been hoodwinked. They've been bamboozled, and I like to say they've been religion-winked, okay? And called the police. Now, thank God they was smart enough to call the police and get them involved. But here's the thing. How can they really prove it? And this is where I don't like the court of the law, because it would consider it a gray area. We don't know if to charge them with sexual assault. We don't know if to charge him with artifice or fraud because he told them a lie. Like, are you serious? Regardless of what, and I can't say regardless of what he got charged for, thank God he ended up in prison. Even though they didn't charge him with the right crime. And he should have got more time and charged with the right crime, which was pedophilia acts against children. That's what I think. But listen, I'm going to try to get through some of this. It says Roach admits that the hardest part of the case was figuring out what charge he could hang on Henry. It wasn't sexual assault. I believe it was. If it did happen, that's sexual assault. Now, could the girls have left and said, you know what? We only got $10. Let's call the police and say he did this in our face. Or they could have very well been telling the truth. Either way, they're saying it's not sexual assault, and I believe it is. So it goes on to say, because he didn't touch the girl sexually, he took his sperm and put it on their face. That's touching the girls. Are you? And they didn't touch him. They were blindfolded and they weren't there for sex, sir. They had no reason to try to touch him. Remember, he lured them in. They didn't want him. They wanted an opportunity to be a part of a market study, hopefully getting their face out in like a magazine or on social media for this white dude cream. They had no intention. They wasn't there to touch him. And they didn't think he was going to touch them either, sir. So it goes on to say, and it wasn't indecent exposure because the girls were blindfolded. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all read the rest of that article on your own. Basically, it's in the chat right there. Let me know what you think about it down below. If your son, husband, wife, mother, children was out here doing this, would you support them? Let me know down in the comments below, please. So, how are you liking this Sinful Sunday, Scented Sunday? I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you. Let's go ahead and give a takeaway, right? What's the takeaway message today? Young girls, please consult with your parents before you do anything. Don't get in the company or be lured or so easily led away by these predators. Pay more attention to your surroundings. There's other ways to make it in the industry without getting taken advantage of or being abused by other people that's already in the industry. Be a child. Learn to grow with grace. Continue to protect yourself like you did if you called the police. If you're violated in any way, call the police. Don't wait 52 years later like the women did with Bill Cosby talking about Me Too. That's what's wrong with this world today. And all these people keep getting away with the same old thing, the same old crime, the same old abuse toward other people, period. So that was a good thing that the girls did. Now, to the police. Let's do the police. The whole reforming the police, the laws of the land. That I told y'all, if y'all would have not voted this election, they'd be working on better laws for this country right now. If y'all would stop holding up white supremacy, wickedness seated in high places, you can begin to turn the laws around in this land, okay? They're just wicked. The criminal justice system benefits the criminals who write the laws and find a way for you to break the laws while they themselves are lawless. Does that make sense? Now, moving on to Tyrone Henry. Tyrone, listen, bro. That's wicked what you did. It's wild. It's crazy. It's disgusting. You deserve more time in prison if you allegedly did it. Obviously, the police believe something happened. And yeah, if you guys continue to read the rest of that story, there's a whole lot more that goes along with that. Also, I'm going to put in the chat, let me grab this now, the appellate Division court records, just so you guys can follow up with that as well. So I'm going to put that in the chat here now. And then, so this is appellate. I'm going to put appellate division. All right. Or I'm just going to put appeal. That's what I'll put. Appeal right here. And then you guys will know what that's for. Alright, boom. So that's the takeaway message. Dude is disgusting. If he was my son, Miss Ray Ellen, or anybody else's son at this particular moment, I would definitely not disown my son, but I would call the police on him too. I would not be harboring anybody in my house that is taking advantage of children, me, other adults, period. You're just not going down on my watch. It's disgusting. I know it's a hard pill to swallow when it's your child, but it's something missing, something broken in your child, or in any child, or any adult child for that matter. Any child of God in the church for that matter. Not to say that this young man was, but things like this happen in the church as well. It's wrong. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep your greed, your gluttony, your pride, your envy, your lust, your wrath, and your slothfulness to yourself. It take a sick person to ejaculate in their hand and then put it on these young girls' faces. It take a demonic soul to do what you do and to do what you did. If you did it allegedly, because I'm not really sure. I'm only going by what we have here, and what we have here is a young man who felt the need. In that article, you see how talented and educated he is, but he felt the need to take advantage of young girls. And there's other articles out there, and I could not find the one article, but if you go over to Rita Running Shit, or Rita the Baddest Roaster, she showed a picture of what this young man looked like, and another article that I could not find on my own, and I didn't want to take her content. But it's over 200, I believe, and 200 plus pictures of child pornography on his computer. Now, this is what I want to ask you. Are parents always aware, or was his mother, Ray Allen, aware that he was doing what he was doing on his computer and in her home? Because there's reports that they shared the home around this particular time. They were living at the same address. Just like when old Johnny go in his room and build the bomb. Do the parents know? And parents, if you know, why are you supporting the wickedness? Guys, so that's it for today. Let me know what you think about Scented Sunday and the deadly sins of white dew cream against the children of God. Children, period. Human beings. For the love of God. It's so many things trying to take us out right now, but I know there's an agenda against the children, and these sick-minded people have it in their heart. Somehow they feel superior. They feel empowered. They feel, on top of the world when they take advantage of these little children and take their innocence and destroy their youth. So, guys, if you agree, somewhere around here, subscribe, like, share, comment, click on these other videos, and I would greatly appreciate you when you return your subscription. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless you all. Have a good evening, y'all. God bless. And thank you so much for tuning into Vintage Sundays with your girl, Dru, over here on ReligionWinked TV. Shalom, everybody. Peace.